Welcome back to another edition of the Clean Slate, your weekly, daily fantasy golf preview show on DK TV. My name's Geoff Ulrich. This week, the PGA Tour is set for the third leg of the Florida Swing. They're headed to Tampa Bay for the Valspar Championships. And this week, we're going back to our regular tour format. So we'll see 140 golfers in the field with 70 players or so making the cut on Friday. And there's some big names here this week. This really is one of the best courses on tours, so it should be a good week overall. Definitely check out the DraftKings lobby after you're done checking out this video. There's a lot of great PGA contests as usual. It's a $300K Fairway event. It's $50K to first place. You don't have to be a good golfer to win, but you do have to enter a roster. It's only a $27 entry fee. Definitely check that out after the video. Let's get to the Slate notes now. Let's talk about the course first. They're playing Copperhead this week. It's a par 71, 7,300 yards. And this course has hosted the event since 2000. It's another really challenging track, and it could play tough if the wind gets up this week, which it might, so keep an eye on the weather. This course has water come into play on 11 holes, like a lot of the courses in Florida, and it's going to be really hard to hit the fairways this week. There's trees on one side, there's water on the other side on a lot of holes. It's just going to play tough. It's not a super long course, but there's a lot of dog legs on some of these holes that makes it play longer, and it puts a real emphasis on accuracy this week. So kind of the opposite of what you saw last week. There's 5 par 3s on the course. There's 4 par 4s on the course. So it's a little bit different setup as well. It's going to suit those players who can score well on those particular holes. This is also the home of the Snake Pit. It's its own trademark sort of 3-hole stretch. 16, 17, and 18. Features 3 really tough holes. Makes for an exciting finish. Just like the last couple of weeks, no lead is going to be safe until your guy is in the clubhouse. Last year, Ryan Moore blew a 3-shot lead with 6 holes to play. Spieth ended up winning in a playoff. Not sure if we're going to see a repeat of that Spieth magic this year, but who knows? Tournament tips this week. Let's get into the tournament tips. Let's target those accurate players this week over those pure power hitters. This course demands good placement off the tee and on their approach shots. The grip it and rip it style you saw last week, it's not going to work. Those big hitters just don't have the same advantage they did at Doral. The big hitters can play well here. We've seen guys like Jason Kokrak and Harris English play well, but they need to be a little bit more disciplined. They're just not going to have as big an advantage. Distance just isn't as big an advantage. Definitely look to other categories in power off the tee this week. When you're looking at stats, look at approach proximity or look at driving accuracy. Those are a couple different categories you can look at to help pick your players this week. Let's talk about horses for courses now. Let's talk about course history. This course has hosted this event since 2000, so there is lots to look at. And Luke Donald, again, shows up on this on our radar this week. He's played the Valspar 5 times. He's finished 6th or better in four attempts. His form hasn't been great this year, but his past course history is worth noting. He's not a must-play at his price, but definitely someone to think about. Jason Duffner is another player who's got a really nice record here. He's got 7 straight made cuts here. He's never finished outside the top 30 this event, actually. At 9,400, he's playing pretty well. You also have Harris English. He's had success here playing as a junior golfer. He's got a couple top 10s in his last 3 visits here. He's pretty expensive, but like Duffner, he's been playing well in 2016 as well, so I don't mind him as a play. Then you have John Senden down there at 7,200. He's played here 9 years in a row. He's missed the cut a couple times, but he's also got 2 second-place finishes and a win. So he's definitely someone who can get it done on this course, and he definitely could be in for a good week. He played well at the Honda Classic, too. Let's talk about some studs now. Let's talk about those players at the top of the field. And there's a lot of European talent still in the field this week. You have Spieth up there at the top. He's the defending champ. He's really expensive this week. And he still hasn't shown the form that we saw from him here last year. So I'm not necessarily sure if you have to pay up for him in this week field. But he can turn it on, and he's going to turn it on at some point. You also have Henrik Stenson and Danny Willett. They're just below Spieth in price. I like them both. Stenson did not play well last week, but he played well here last year. I believe he was 4th. And Willett definitely played well last week. He's a really talented young English player. I won't be shocked if he goes well. So those are both a couple different options you can look to other than Spieth this week if you're looking to pay up for that top talent. Some other players in the field, Louis Oosthuizen, 10,600. Doesn't have a great record here, but finished well last week. Patrick Reed, 10,300. Coming off a couple poor weeks. He's going to be under-owned, and he did finish 2nd here last year, so a bit more of a GPP pick maybe. And then you have Justin Thomas at 10K. That's a really big price for Justin Thomas. I don't know if you need to pay up for him necessarily, but he did finish 10th here last year. Let's move on to some sleeper picks. Those guys sort of at the bottom end of the salary chart, maybe a little bit less, little bit under-owned this week. Some strong plays in the 7K range for sure. I like Patton Kazari. 7,600. He's got experience playing here as a junior, and he's been in great form. Great talented young player. Sung Kang at 7,800. He's gone 10th, 8th, and 17th in his last 3 starts. He's just on fire in general. And then you have John Sandin. I already mentioned him, 7,200, former champ, 10th in his last start. He's rounding into form. I like him too. Some strong plays in the 6K range. George McNeil, 6,400. He's a Florida resident. Knows the course really well, and he's made a ton of cuts here. So someone who's going to go under the radar, pretty cheap play. Then you have Colt Knost at 6,700. He's a nice, accurate player. I think he'll suit the course well. And he's made it to the weekend in 10 straight events, so 10 straight cuts made for Colt Knost. Then Daniel Summeray's at 6,600. I like him too. He was 10th here last year, and he plays tough course as well. He's played well at the Valero Texas Open as well. So I like him at 6,600. I think there's definitely some solid plays in that range this week. My favorite plays of the week, I really like Webb Simpson this week. He's under 9K in price. He's only 8,900, and he ranks 13th in strokes gained tee to green for the year. He's 4th in greens in regulation. He's striking it great right now. He hasn't played a ton, but I think if you get a decent week with his putter, he could go really well here. He's got a nice course history here too. And I also like Danny Lee to bounce back after a couple slow weeks. He's got the funniest Twitter account in golf. Definitely check it out after this video. He was 7th here last year, just a great all-around player. I think he's a great bargain at 8K. I also like Graham McDowell. I think the course is going to suit McDowell a lot better than it did last week. And he's been playing well. He's played well at the Honda Classic too. So final thoughts for the week. There's a lot of price increases on players. This isn't quite as an elite field. Be careful who you're paying up for. There's still some players who are cheaper than others, but you're going to have to do a little bit of research this week for sure. And then keep an eye on the weather is just my other final thought. If that wind gets up, favoring one tee time or one wave of players over the other might be a decent idea for sure. So check that out Wednesday night. Definitely check out the DraftKings playbook after you're done watching this video. There's a lot of great fantasy articles across all the major sports. You can find my PGA cheat sheet there too. It's got a few more ideas about the tournament, my thoughts for the week as well. My name's Geoff Ulrich, guys. You can find me on Twitter as @TheFantasyGrind. I hope you have a good week of golf, and we'll talk to you again soon.